Hey there, and a happy Sunday to you. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your forecast. It's going to be a hot stretch of weather. I know it's summertime here in the Pacific Northwest, but temperatures in the 80s and 90s making a comeback after it's been quite a while since we've had some widespread 90s for the South Sound, our typical hot spots. But Sunday through Tuesday, so this afternoon through Tuesday evening, we have a heat advisory in place. And it's not just because of the hot days, it's going to be because of the warm nights as well. So we're not going to have much relief from the heat before we heat things right back up. So that heat advisory covers all of Puget Sound. Now the islands aren't included in this heat advisory. The beaches aren't as well. So areas away from the water, that's where we'll have the most impactful heat. If you don't have adequate ways to stay cool and to beat the heat, this could put some stress to your bodies. This is not going to be a record-shattering stretch of hot weather by any means. In fact, over the past couple of decades, going all the way back to the 40s, this is the records kept by SeaTac, so at the airport, this shows how many 80-plus degree days, 80 degrees or hotter days that we've had. On average, about 28 for the summer and for the year. Now the record, 51. So you see, we are going to be very shy of that. In fact, possibly into the end of August, we may have temperatures near normal, which would be in the 70s. So we are likely going to add to this 90-plus degree day as well. So far this year, we've had 3, on average about 3. Now above 95, very low chance for that, at least for widespread. We hit 94 at SeaTac already this year, so kind of close. Here's a look at your forecast because we have a lot of changes. Tomorrow and Tuesday, first alert weather days. It's going to be hot today, but it's the first day where we're going to have this excessive heat. So yes, it's going to be hot, but Monday and Tuesday will likely be the most impactful because we haven't had relief from today's heat because of those warm overnight temperatures. For Puget Sound and interior areas, Tuesday looks to be the hottest day before we start to cool things down Wednesday and for the rest of the week. And the reason why it's going to be so hot, yesterday we were talking about this really strong ridge. It's building, it's amplifying, and it continues to build to the north. And so that's keeping all of the cloud cover, all of the disturbances away from our area. And until this breaks down, which it looks like it will begin to flatten by Tuesday, we're still going to feel that heat, except for the coast. They'll start to cool things down. And you can see on the Futurecast how this ridge is just shielding us from any weather systems. See that there, how we have all that precipitation, all of the cloud cover as well, staying to the west, to the north, and to the east of us. But watch what happens into Wednesday. It starts to break down, and then that could allow for a couple of disturbances to at least clip the area. You see some rain over Canada, and then by Thursday and Friday, we could get a system moving through, swinging through, bringing us some cooler temperatures, but some rain as well. But that's still about 5 days out, so we'll continue to monitor that and keep you posted. But the rain would be beneficial, as we all know that. A look around Washington this morning because it's been a beautiful morning, and you see even closer to the coast we have bright blue skies, a good place to be if you want to beat the heat. If you're headed up to the mountains, going to be hot there as well. The freezing level's about 16,000 feet, so even in Paradise it's going to be very mild. A look from our Columbia Center tower cam, you can see the Cascades a little on the hazy side. Lake Washington also looking very inviting. The middle of the lake, the buoy, reading about 72, so closer to the shoreline, going to be on the mild side. It's just a little cooler because we had cooler temperatures. We also had that rain earlier last week or late last week. A look from our Queen Anne camera. The mountain is out, but it's kind of hard to see with some of those low clouds, some of that haze, but not expecting any widespread issues. A look from Bellingham. You see the birds are out enjoying this beautiful morning, and people out and about too, trying to beat the heat more than likely, and going to see temperatures all the way up into Bellingham as well, about 80 degrees. Now this graphic in in particular, showing you the high temperatures, also the heat advisory, and it shows who's under that heat advisory versus the areas that are not. So interior areas, low and mid 80s, the Cascade foothills going to be in the upper 80s to around 90. Darrington looking at you, 81 in Everett, 87 in Monroe, and right around 86 in Granite Falls. Then we get closer to Seattle and our surrounding areas all the way into the Kitsap Peninsula, mid and upper 80s. Even Snoqualmie Pass, 84, Stevens Pass, 78. South Sound will have, and the foothills and the valleys will have the best chance to reach that 90-degree mark today. The closer you get to Oregon, that's where temperatures are really going to soar as well. They have an extreme heat warning in place. That's not for our area, but it also includes eastern Washington. The beaches today, 60s and 70s, but then you just go inland, Forks, 86 degrees, and then if you're going to Lake Crescent, 80 degrees, going to be nice for that. Nice way to beat the heat. Our air quality forecast, as a whole, reading good, but some spots could reach that moderate category, and so we'll have to watch for that. But we're not expecting widespread air quality issues. Tonight, as I mentioned, very little relief from the heat, between about 60 and 66 for our morning lows. So that means most of our night, we're spending our night in the upper 60s, maybe some lower 70s. So once again, little relief from the heat before we heat things up tomorrow, and it's not going to take much. We're also going to have a thermal trough moving over the region. That's going to help heat us up, and especially Tuesday. So high temperatures tomorrow. Quileute, 88 degrees, and then you go inland, and we have upper 80s, low and mid 90s, all the way up to Bellingham as well, 86 degrees. Meanwhile, eastern Washington in the triple digits. So that's where the serious heat will be. Paradise tomorrow, 81 if you're planning to hike or go out on the water. Hiking up in the mountains, going to be dry, going to be sunny, hot, and a little dusty out there. Speaking of dust or pollutants or anything like that, Monday we also have the potential to drop into that moderate category at least for some spots. Some spots could, more localized spots, could drop into that unhealthy for sensitive groups category, the code orange, but again, something we'll have to monitor. Into Tuesday morning, once again mentioning how we're not going to feel much relief. No kidding. Lower and mid 60s, some spots may only drop into the upper 60s to about 70 before we heat up again. Surprise, surprise. Tuesday, you see low and mid 80s, and then for Puget Sound and the foothills and valleys, low and mid 90s, even Seattle around 90 degrees, 94 in Olympia, Chehalis 95. But you notice Quileute, Hoquiam, and the coast, they're starting to cool down because we'll get the gradual return of onshore winds. We'll feel it, all of us will feel it by Wednesday. You see widespread 60s and 70s, so that return of onshore winds, that cooler Pacific air will help knock down those temperatures once again and help clouds return to the area and maybe a couple of showers later in the week. Also, the Perseid meteor shower, it peaks Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So August 12th, pardon me, this happened yesterday too. August 12th through the 13th, but you can view it now, and then it lasts all the way through August 23rd. You can always find pardon me, once again, that's my cue to wrap things up. So once again, we have first alert weather days Monday and Tuesday. For the rest of the week, though, we're in the 70s, so much cooler. And even beyond the 7-day forecast, looks as though the 70s will continue. So I hope you stay cool, stay hydrated, and please don't forget about your pets.